Have you ever wondered what made the first Iron Man movie so good? I have, and I think I've cracked the code. My appreciation for Iron Man has increased the better I've gotten at writing. I think there are several great techniques that I can learn from this film, so I want to make a video sharing the effective writing techniques used here. Technique 1. Enter late, leave early. The movie starts with Tony in a truck heading to a destination. After establishing his personality, the main conflict hits. The truck is attacked and he ends up captured. This attack happens 2.5 minutes into the movie. This is a flash forward because after the title sequence, we go back in time and see what led to that moment. But this flash forward served as a hook to immediately grab the audience's attention. Technique 2. Distinct personality. A great way to write a distinct personality is by taking one or a few traits and turning them up to 11. This prevents the character from ever feeling basic or bland and ensures that the audience has a feel for the character. For Tony Stark, his traits are his narcissism, selfishness, and charisma. These make him distinct, but the writers also do a great job of showing off this eccentric personality. I'd say show don't tell, but there's nothing wrong with telling as long as you show. In his first scene, he has enough charisma to break the ice with the soldiers. There's also a braggadocious line about him going 12 for 12 with models. In the next scene, he's selfish enough to not show up for his own award because he already has many. Instead, he's playing games at a casino. There's him trying to smooth talk his way out of Rhodey's anger, his answer to the reporter's questions being charismatically quippy, and getting in bed with her through his game. These are several actions he takes throughout the movie that emphasize his main traits, and it'd be time consuming to name them all. Technique 3. Meticulous transformation. In this movie, Tony goes through a character arc. He starts the movie believing that selling weapons is right, but he ends the movie believing selling weapons is wrong, and decides to keep his weapons in his own hands so that he can use them for good. What makes this arc special is how detailed the transformation stage of his arc is. In general, there will be at least one event that causes the character to go from A to B, but this movie has an entire section of the movie dedicated to making his transformation as believable as possible. Tony makes dangerous weapons and sells them. He's even criticized for this by the reporter, so simply getting hit by his own bomb, used by his enemies, could have been the event to transform him, but that's not what we get. Tony's injured by his own bomb, told to build more weapons by his captors, forced to see how dangerous his weapons are, forced to confront how bad he used to be, and how empty his life is by Yinsen, and forced to rely on someone else for his survival. All of these factors lead to a believable transformation. Tony seeing his weapons used for bad understandably causes him to not want to sell weapons anymore. Yinsen saving Tony's life, opening his eyes to his behavior and legacy, and helping him escape make him a more empathetic person. Empathetic enough to care about the lives his weapons take, and to care about the other people in his life. This actually plays into a secondary arc that Tony Stark has. Before the cave, we knew he did several one-night stands, but after the cave, specifically in his last scene with Pepper, he's looking for a girlfriend. Instead of just one event causing his transformation, several events cause them, making it more believable. Extra points are awarded to the fact that his transformation also provides a solution alongside his character arc. In the cave, he built the arc reactor and the Iron Man suit. This is part of his alternative to selling weapons. Instead of just quitting, he decided to make suits of armor to save people himself so that his weapons don't fall into the wrong hands. Technique 4. Synthesize pillars. Plot, character, and theme are 3 of the 4 pillars of story. In this movie, those 3 pillars are tied together tightly. The plot of the movie is connected to Tony's character arc, which is connected to the theme of the movie. As I said before, Tony's arc is going from believing selling weapons is right to believing selling weapons is wrong, instead opting to become a weapon for justice, Iron Man. The theme of this movie is explicitly selling weapons is wrong, but it can also be broadened to take accountability for your actions. Stark takes accountability for all the weapons he made by seizing the distribution of them, creating a new weapon he can use for precise justice, and destroying his old weapons and saving innocent people. Here's the simplified plot. Bad people get their hands on Stark's weapons and use them to wreak havoc. Tony responds by creating the Iron Man suit to stop them and save innocents. Here's how everything is synthesized. Tony selling weapons is what gets him captured and forces him to undergo a character arc. Tony selling weapons is the catalyst for the plot, and his weapons play a major role in the conflict. Tony selling weapons is the negative side of the theme. Tony taking accountability is the outcome of his character arc. Tony taking accountability results in him making different suits and fighting back. Tony taking accountability is the positive side of the theme. By tying these 3 pillars together, the story comes together so smoothly and naturally. Everything feels intentional and purposeful. Technique 5. Negative consequences. This movie gives Tony consequences, but not just for his bad actions, for his good ones too. Before his transformation, he's punished for selling weapons by being injured by his own weapons and forced into captivity. According to the writing, pre-transformation Tony is bad, and post-transformation Tony is good, but he still faces consequences post-transformation. His first good act was shutting down the weapons manufacturing section of his company. Because of this, Rhodey, a military officer, is mad at him because it would mean that he's no longer helping the military. This causes them to stop talking and makes it difficult for Tony to ask for help when military planes are attacking him. Also because of this, Stark Industries stock drops, which then leads to Stain locking Tony out of his company. Later, when Iron Man saves people in Golmira, the US Air Force attacks him because he didn't have permission to go there. Pepper almost quits when Tony decides to be Iron Man and he puts him in danger. Having negative consequences for bad actions tells the audience which side is wrong, but also having negative consequences for good actions tells the audience that doing the right thing isn't always easy, and that makes the story more nuanced. Technique 6. Training Arc. Tony goes through something of a training arc throughout the movie. After the cave, we see him slowly building up the suit, testing out his features, and improving it. We specifically see him testing out the feet and hand thrusters, flying in the suit, and the hand repulsors. He also fails a lot during his training, which makes his progress more believable, because when you're practicing something new, you're bound to fail before succeeding. All of this training makes it believable and earned when Tony is able to skillfully use the suit to fly and fight. Technique 7. Climactic Callback. This movie and a few others have what I call a climactic callback. This is when the hero uses a callback to something that was set up ahead of time during the final battle. In Iron Man, when Tony first flies in the Mark II, he tries to break the altitude limit, but faces a fatal buildup in ice and almost dies from falling while frozen. He takes note of this and makes sure the Mark III doesn't have this problem. Then, in his climactic fight against Stain, he takes advantage of the fact that Stain's suit is based on the Mark I and takes him to a high altitude, causing him to freeze. This technique is great because it ensures that the way the hero wins was set up and not contrived. It also awards the audience for paying attention. Unfortunately, this wasn't the finishing move. Instead, the fight continues and ends in a more contrived manner. Other movies like The Dark Knight, Kung Fu Panda, Into the Spider-Verse, and Across the Spider-Verse nail this climactic callback by actually making it the finishing move, which is more satisfying. Technique 8. Vulnerable Hero. Iron Man is not invincible, he's vulnerable. Vulnerability leads to struggle, which leads to an earned, satisfying victory. This lesson is an obvious one, but it's surprising how many movies fail to do this. In his Mark I suit, he seemed overpowered compared to regular people with guns, but once things started exploding, he was forced to flee. He didn't just moonwalk on everyone there. In his Mark III suit, he easily took out more gunmen and a tank, but he struggled when dealing with military planes, partly because he wasn't trying to kill them, but partly because their tech was good. Their missiles and speed weren't feats that he could easily deal with. In the end, he survived because they stopped chasing him. Finally, in his final fight against Stain, he had superior tech, but he was cleverly nerfed by being forced to use an older arc reactor, which put him at 48% power. After firing with the Unibeam, he dropped to 19%. So the entire fight, he was at a huge disadvantage. This is why if he'd won with the icing problem, it would have been so rewarding, because he would have beaten a stronger foe with his wits. In conclusion, the 8 effective writing techniques Iron Man used were enter late, leave early, distinct personality, meticulous transformation, synthesized pillars, negative consequences, training arc, climactic callback, and vulnerable hero. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and help me revolutionize the manga industry by buying my manga and spreading the word. All important links will be in the description.